Come on, baby. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Meet the Pressers Writing Shotgun with Charlie exclusive live show on the StreamYard. And tonight we have with us John Crump, who some people say he's just a YouTube personality, but he's so much more than that.
Yeah, I kind of heard that before. I don't know where.
Right. So it's good to be back. It's been a couple weeks since we've done a show. We did a show a couple weeks ago with some of the folks from Rick Ector's event, and so John Crump has been in the news, and his story's been in the news, and we are having John Crump on this evening, and we are going to talk with him about all the stuff that is going on in Crumpland.
All right, that works for me.
So let's real quick, let's just start with who you are and what you do, sir.
My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist. I have a YouTube page called John Crump News, but I mostly am known for my writing right over at MLN.com. I'm also a gun rights advocate, and I do some stuff with GOA.
Very cool. Very cool. You're the GOA representative from Virginia, right?
No.
Oh no. Okay, sorry.
I used to be.
Used to be.
Yeah. I deal mostly with national stuff now.
Gotcha. Very cool. You moving on up, man.
It's different. I do like special projects, work with legal and also federal affairs, legal affairs, the foundation, the nonprofit, and stuff like that. So I'm all over the place, but I do a lot.
Very cool, man. Well, we're glad to have a guy like you out there fighting for freedom.
You're not just a social media influencer.
No, I'm not just a
more than that.
No, nope. I'm more than just a YouTube personality. If Laura Coffer Taylor is watching this, hi Laura.
That would be great if she is. Let's see. Is there a way we can find out if she's watching?
Not that I know of, but I'm sure. Man.
Well, hopefully she'll leave a comment.
A call out.
Right, a shout out, right?
Yeah.
I pulled up a special background for you. It is the American flag with the GOA logo on it, and I was trying to figure out if there was a way to show it, and I think this might be it. I'm not sure. Or not, or maybe not.
If you put it on, if you upload it to overlay, then it will show it.
That's not what we want.
No. See, Charlie, we lost viewers now. Come on.
I know. This is what happens. This is what happens.
We're looking at Charlie's beautiful mug.
No, yeah, nobody wants that. Yeah, I've got it as the background, but I can put it in as the overlay. Here's what the overlay that I do have. You ready for this?
Sure. Oh, that is awesome.
That's from his metal days, right?
Yeah, someone made that for me, so I use it. Like whenever someone makes something for me, I use it.
Very
James,
cool.
Holy smoke, I'm first. Yes, you are, James. Hop in there and get first in on the giveaway too. It's gonna be a good.
There we are.
Charlie got it.
The GOA. There we are. All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, tell us about this situation. How did all of this come about? Because all of a sudden the key card that we've seen for sale in the Facebook marketplace is now like a machine gun, and it's a little ridiculous.
Sure, I can definitely do that. What happened was a guy named Christopher Justin Irvin, he goes by Justin, had an idea. He wanted to show how ridiculous gun laws are. So he made a political statement by taking the metal card and having an etching of a lightning link on the outside of it. A lightning link is something that you can use to convert certain AR-15s into fully automatic, rifles.
And certain is the key there, right? Certain, not doesn't work.
It doesn't work across it has to have a special bolt carrier, like a 1961 Colt bolt carrier or whatever. But so he made that. The metal wasn't even the right type of metal. It was a little bit too thick. And here's the kicker. The lightning link on it was not the correct dimensions either. But he started selling these. And he called the ATF and said, "Hey, am I allowed to sell these?" And the local field office was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Then he hooked up with the Matt Hoover, better known as CRS Firearms, and offered Matt a sponsorship deal. Matt took the sponsorship deal after first calling his local field office and saying, "Hey, is this okay?" "Yep, sure, no problem." Well, according to the ATF, you need to go to Fat D about that. The local field offices can't tell you one way or the other. So the ATF saw this, and this is how the ATF saw this. This is going to get very interesting. Justin Irvin wanted to pull out a certain amount of money from the bank. Like, I think it was like $15,000. He was trying to put a down payment on something. The bank's like, "Oh, no, we can give you a cashier's check, or you have to wait 2 weeks." He's like, "I don't want to wait 2 weeks." They're like, "Well, we have our policy is only $10,000 can be taken out at one time, or under $10,000 can be taken out at one time unless you want to wait the 2 weeks." Well, Justin didn't want to wait the 2 weeks, so he went to several different branches and deposit and pulled out $10,000, just under $10,000. Well, the argument he had with the bank teller about getting his money, she looked up what the company was, which was Auto Key Card. She's like, "Oh, this doesn't look right to me." So she calls her friend, who happens to be an ATF special agent in Texas, who then refers her to a local Florida ATF special agent. And he's like, "I think this is my machine gun." So they started doing an investigation. And you remember, these guys aren't hiding. They think everything that they're doing is totally legal. So the ATF gets a couple auto key cards. They tried to get it to work. Couldn't get it to work because it's not the right size, not the right type of metal, whatever. So the ATF was like, "Well, they thought it was a machine gun. That's what we're insinuating. So therefore, we're going to arrest them." So they both got arrested on transfer of a machine gun and machine guns in a conspiracy, because the law says anything that converts a gun into a machine gun in and of itself is a machine gun. And they also got charged with structuring, or Justin got charged with structuring, because he couldn't take out the $10,000 from the one branch, so they go to multiple branches, which I don't understand how that's illegal if the bank forces you to do that.
Yeah, it's your money.
Yeah.
So I started reporting on this, and I started reporting on some of the misdeeds of the ATF and the prosecutor's office, and specifically issues that I had with the case. Like, for example, we don't have to prove that it's actually a lightning link or it actually works. All we have to do is prove that it was transferred. And that was the jury instructions. So the jury was instructed, this is a machine gun. We only have to do is prove that this is a machine gun. And here's the thing. They did that after all the arguments were done. Also, there's something called jury nullification, and they said you cannot do jury nullification, so we're not going to allow you to argue that you are using your First Amendment rights to do this. And we're not going to allow you to argue that the NFA is unconstitutional. We're not going to allow you to argue that this isn't a machine gun. And at this point in the case, they've already admitted that they transferred it, right? So they were convicted, and they've been sitting in prison since April, or Justin's been in there for like 2 years, or jail, actually, not prison. But Justin's been in there for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Matt's been in there since April. And I got a copy of the pre-sentencing report. The pre-sentencing report was very, very positive for the guys, and kind of critical of the prosecutor's case. So I reported on that. And basically the pre-sentencing report says 22 to 32 months of incarceration or house arrest, or, supervised release for Matthew Hoover, and time served and 3 years probation for Justin. So I reported on this saying, hey, even the people who interviewed him for the pre-sentencing report doesn't believe that they thought they were doing anything illegal and everything else. Laura Crawford Taylor, who's the assistant U.S. prosecutor, got incredibly pissed off that I was sharing that information. Not that I was sharing the information, but that people were leaving negative comments about her in the comments below my video. So she filed,
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, yeah. So she filed a motion to get me to destroy all the documents I had on the case and to not talk about it anymore. And they did this, they tried to do this in ex parte, which means I wasn't going to be notified until they decided on this. Luckily, Stephen Stambolia, who is one of my attorneys, who is also a friend of mine, found the document, and he contacted me late that Monday night and said, hey, they got a hearing on this on Friday. You might want to be aware of this. And he also contacted Rob Olson, and Rob Olson's also one of my attorneys and a friend of mine. So we started working on it that night. There's another lawyer named Oliver who started working on it with us. So the next morning, Rob and them, they stayed up all night working on this stuff. And Rob calls me up and he's like, ready to go to war? I was like, absolutely. So at this time, they had no idea that I knew about this stuff. And
they're actually going to slide it in there. That's what their goal
slide it in there. They thought I was some guy in my basement, and I am, but I'm a well-connected guy in my basement. So
I'm in my basement too.
Yeah, so we wrote up everything, and the next day we filed a motion to intervene for me, saying, "Hey, this is not kosher. You can't do this." He's a member of the press. Then we also got a bunch of YouTubers came out and signed a amicus brief in the case, and we brought on James Phillips, who's an excellent trial attorney, and Steven flew down there, and then Eric Friday of Florida Carry. I don't know if you know him or not. Yeah, he filed the amicus brief. There's another lawyer named Ron Shook who also came in with the amicus brief, and they showed up in the courtroom. Well, I don't think that the government figured that was going to happen.
Power.
They thought, maybe one might show up, not, all full freaking legal team. So the judge was pretty upset with the prosecutor, and the DOJ refused to let her speak. The judge wanted to ask her questions, and her boss or whoever was speaking on behalf was like, well, we don't think that's a good idea. So we're not going to, if you're going to insist on speaking to her, we're just going to withdraw the motion. And the judge actually said, I just want to know, what were you thinking? What possible legal statute do you think this is okay at all?
Wow.
So they withdrew their motion because they knew they were going to lose. And, so no gag order, no order to destroy any documents, and I am free to continue doing what I'm doing.
That's why we got you here, to talk about it and spread the good word. When the government oversteps their boundaries and we don't keep them in check and use their own tools against them, because that's the tools they use against us. And of course, they got all the tax money that we pay to fight us and do whatever they want to do. And then that's taxation without representation to the fullest.
Yeah, you have to be prepared to step up and fight back. If you're not prepared to step up and fight back, there's nothing that you can complain about because you're not willing to take a stand.
For sure.
There's that old saying, if you refuse to stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Right.
And I don't like conflict and I don't like fighting, but I will fight and I will not shy away from conflict. There's my buddy Coop out there.
Coop is pretty awesome.
Yeah. He makes some really cool signs.
Yeah. Every time I got to see, I'm going to pull this back up. Every time I see this little logo that's over here, to me it always looks like a big burly guy with a mustache, like the two parts of the right. If you take a look at it, but don't you kind of squint a little bit, you'll see what it is. Oh, he's got the Wolverines up there.
Yeah, that Coop made that for me.
That's awesome.
When you go to your psychiatrist, what do you think those little spot patterns are?
It's your mother.
You ass. Touche, though. Touche. That was a good quip. Nice. So what is the going forward with this, with the case and such? What can Charlie and I do? What can our viewers and listeners do on both of our channels? What can all of us do to get involved? Because when you say the one guy's been in there for 3 years, the other one's been in there since April, it's like, to me, I'm like, are you kidding me? I know Matt, the stuff I've seen with Matt, he's got a family. His family's torn apart because of this. I couldn't fathom how my family would live without me, much less me live without them for that long.
Well, Matt's doing okay. He's preaching the gospel of Bruin in jail to people who've never heard of it, which is good. Mm-hmm. They get sentenced on September 6th, and there's nothing that can be done from a legal standpoint until after sentencing. We'll find out what their sentencing is, but they both are going to appeal. I don't think that's any secret. If you go to it's autokeycard2.com, that's autokeycard, one word, TWO.com. There's ways to donate and everything else to the guys. So it's going to take a lot of money to appeal.
So if you go, and just so people know, if you Google and go to AutoKeyCard or AutoKeyCards.com, it has been commandeered by the ATF. Like, yes. You go to that website address, it goes straight to the ATF. This has been taken over by the federal government.
Yeah, but AutoKeyCard 2, that's our TWO. That's our website because there's two of them.
Okay.
Gotcha. Card or card? So card 2, right?
AutoKeyCard 2. Yeah.
AutoKeyCard 2.
I can't spell.
CRD2.com.
AutoKeyCard 2. There we go.
Yeah, it was set up by my friend. I set up the back end, and Rich did the design. Rich was also named Flying Rich Firearms on YouTube. He was also named in the case.
Cool. Perfect.
He wasn't going to back down either, so we beat those.
Good. I mean, that's what's got to happen. And it's mass non-compliance. I mean, I shouldn't even say that, because I don't even want to say compliance, because it's bullshit right off the get-go what they're professing as these edicts and what the law is in that sense. So mass defiance, I guess it would be a better way to say it, in the sense of issues. And if there's enough of that happening, enough of that mass defiance, that's going to make the government back down. It's going to make them back up, say, okay, we're outnumbered, we're out, we don't have enough resources to be able to hold these people accountable, so we'll just ignore everybody. Hold everybody accountable. So the more people that profess it, the more people they get.
And he's locked up.
Great. The more, I think he's going to go with something like, the more people get involved, the more they do this. Yeah. So go ahead. The more people get involved, the support, finances behind these two gentlemen, the better it's going to be for the government to realize, oh, we picked the wrong battle. Because when it comes to attorneys, right, it's, can I win it? And if they think they can win it, that's when they start going full bore. But if they get a little bit of resistance, they don't think they can get a jury to be on their side, or they're going to get the jury public opinion against them, that's going to push them back a little bit and make them, tuck their tail and run.
Yeah, especially, they released a press release and everything, with their narrative. They just didn't want another narrative to be out there. And the judge actually said that she found my reporting factual inaccurate.
There we go. And then she's going to say that you're not a journalist, but everything was accurate and factual. Okay.
Well, the judge said that the judge watched all my video, which is actually probably better for their case now, because the judge is going to be deciding on sentencing, and now she has a little dose of my take on it, which she didn't have before. So they actually might have hurt their own sentencing there.
Nice.
Crazy.
So how were people buying the AutoKey cards?
Just they did a mail-in form.
That was it, huh?
Yeah, mail-in form.
And then you had to bend this a certain way, and then you could only put it in certain ARs.
Well, everyone that tried to actually get it to work like a lightning link could not get it to work, including like 3 people that they found with a guy had a machine shop, and he's like, "Oh, I can get this to work," and he tried to cut it out and get it to work and couldn't get it to work. And then the ATF tried to get it to work the way it was supposed to work. They couldn't get it to work. It's the wrong type of metal, the wrong thickness. The dimensions are wrong.
So it was all more of a gimmick or anything than anything.
Yeah.
The kind of like a pet rock or a chia pet kind of thing. Kind of novelty more than anything.
It was a political statement.
Right. Wow. And of course, we know the government doesn't like those political statements. Boston Tea Party.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So you had said something as far as the machinist was trying to get it to work, and what I say to my students in some of my classes is that if in New York State, pin magazines technically is the way people get around pinning around having an AR and all the scary features is pinning the magazine into the gun. Though New York State troopers consider that being an assault weapon that's been converted to some other type of weapon and it's an illegal act. They also admit that nobody's been charged with it because it's mass non-compliant. So many people in New York State are doing it. But I use the example of high-capacity magazines. I'm sorry, standard capacity magazines. So a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, New York State calls high capacity. In the free world, it's called standard capacity. But if you pin a magazine where it cannot take more than 10 rounds, New York State, specifically in the law, says that it cannot be readily restored or converted back to accept more than 10 rounds. And I usually tell my students, if you have a magazine that ever did hold more than 10 rounds, ever could hold more than 10 rounds, or geez, in this day and age, ever self-identifies with holding more than 10 rounds, we probably want to be careful there and not have that magazine, because if some good attorney wanted to bring it to somebody that was willing to take some money to pop that pin out, and they can do some statement to the court saying that, yeah, I readily converted it back easily within 5 seconds or whatever, that could be trouble. Could be problematic. So that being said, can you talk about the machinist there that was trying? Was that a machinist that the prosecution brought in to try to get him to do it, or just somebody that on the internet said, I want to try it to see if it can be done?
Well, the machinist that they had there was one of the witnesses they brought in, and he had 3 of them, and he contacted the ATF when he heard that they were illegal, and he's like, yeah, I had 3, tried to cut one out, didn't work, couldn't get it to work. I still have the other 2. And he's like, well, where'd you get them from? And he's like, I got them from a couple guys in the field who they couldn't get them to work. They gave them to me because they couldn't get them to work, because they were never intended to work. So he could not get it to work. The ATF tried to cut it out along the lines, didn't work. They tried to cut it out without cutting along the lines by tracing another lightning link onto it. Couldn't get it to work. They did finally get hammer follow, and they're like, oh, close enough, by jamming up the trigger. So yeah, that's close enough for it to work, right?
If it's close enough for it to work, but it doesn't work, it still doesn't work.
Exactly. I don't think like the ATF. So
that whole constructive possession is also a big scary thing. How they can use that against you. I try to explain to people, even in New York State, you got an AR and you got all the parts spread around your house. If they find all the parts that can make that gun come together, they could charge you with constructive possession just because you have the parts. Especially now with the pistol brace stuff, the ATF's all jumping all over that stuff.
Yeah, you gotta look. There's a guy down in Virginia Beach, Tate Omnidak, if I can't say his last name. But a Navy guy who had an RPG with, it was demilled, cut out, no trigger pack or anything else like that. The ATF was able to weld back the side of that RPG, and then they went and acquired a trigger pack, which he didn't have, and installed a trigger pack in there, and was able to get it to function by welding the hole shut and putting a trigger pack in there. And they charged him with constructive possession, even though they got a conviction, even though he didn't have all the parts.
Wow. And they welded it. Like, I don't even have a welding stuff. I've thought about welding, but I don't even have any welding stuff. And they welded it.
Yeah.
Wow. See, that's so much overreach. And what people don't understand is that somebody on a jury convicted him. They found him guilty of this. So that just shows you, people are like, well, as somebody just posted yesterday or maybe this morning to a comment that somebody put about the people those two people trying to break into that apartment and they shot through the door. And I say, no, don't shoot through the door. Somebody's like, oh, open the door and I'd shoot them. I'm like, no, you open the door you're bringing the harm towards you. You're not going to prove that you feel death or great bodily harm, right? And now you got juries that are convicting people like that, and their of course their responses are rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. Will you really? You don't know how juries work. Juries, the purpose of a jury is to see who has the better attorney, and that really is the end of it. That's a Masada Ayub statement there, by the way.
No, that's absolutely right. I agree with it. And defense, even though they're supposed to have the advantage because the prosecution's supposed to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt, juries usually don't go in there, 50-50 at the beginning of the case. Usually juries think that the government is not going to charge someone unless they actually did it. So even though it's supposed to be 50-50 and the burden is supposed to be on the government, that's not how it works out in real life. Yeah. When I was pre-law for a little while, but when I went to college for pre-law, and one of the reasons why I decided not to become a lawyer is because of this, I had this thing where I thought defense attorneys were like the scum of the earth and the prosecutors were the good guys. And then like halfway through the first year in pre-law, I figured that, wait a minute, I got this kind of reversed in a lot of situations. Not in all situations, but a lot of situations, it is reversed.
Right. Like Jesse Pinkman said in Breaking Bad, you don't want a criminal attorney, you want a criminal attorney.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. This is completely nuts. The fact that this stuff doesn't work and they're going, they're prosecuting these guys for this. This is completely insane.
It really is. It really is. I got a feeling things are going to be different on appeal.
Yeah. All right. So David Waltrip says, how can they use the malfunction against the defendants yet not prosecute the manufacturer of the rifle for selling automatic weapons?
I would say just give them time.
Right. Well,
we laugh, but that's sad.
Right. Something's going to work.
Jokingly. Just give them time.
Yeah.
I think that's coming.
That's scary. That's scary because we're pushing closer and closer. And I hate the terms. I hate the words. I hate to think about it. We're not in a civil war yet, but things are heading in that direction. If the government keeps pushing, you can only push your peasants so much before they strike back. We look at ancient Japan and the ninjas that were created because of the samurais and the government overreach, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we are kind of in a cold civil war. It's just not a hot one.
That's an interesting term. Yeah, that's kind of a good way to say it.
Because if you look at everything that's going on, there's definitely two sides, and there's definitely two different. Actually, I think there's three sides. But that's a whole nother topic.
Right. We have the left, the right. I think we have the left, the right, and the libertarians. And I think for the most part, the libertarians want to be left alone.
Well, I think it's the left, the right, and the elites.
Oh, well, for sure. I do think there's absolutely three tiers. I'm a big fan of Anthony Calandro, and he says all the time there are three tiers. We have the elites, we have the illegals, and then we have the citizens.
Yeah. Well, I think the elites want to see the left and the right keep on fighting.
Of course.
Because that's how they hold on to power.
Oh, my God, absolutely.
Yeah, that's evident with all the stuff we're seeing.
Yeah. So David again says, the Rittenhouse case shows that anyone that watches... the Rittenhouse case shows anyone that watches just how corrupt prosecutors can be. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was very corrupt.
Steve Washington's chimed in. Yeah, one of the slides that I've added to the courses that I teach is the picture of Rittenhouse's prosecuting attorney with the Binder finger, where he's got the rifle, he's holding it up, he's pointing it in the courtroom with his finger on the trigger and the bolt closed. And I say, let's take a look at our 3 safety rules that we have. Safe direction. Is the jury a safe direction?
Check.
Is your finger off the trigger? And can you tell if it's can you tell if it's loaded? No, you can't. Okay. Breaking all of the safety rules.
Right.
Yeah, Kyle did do a good job at disarming the guy with the Glock by literally blowing up his car.
disarming him.
Yeah.
I've had some discussions with people about this, and I say, so let's see if we take a look at this. We have someone that's throwing a Molotov cocktail at him. We have someone that's going to smash his head in with a skateboard, and we have somebody that has a gun illegally that wants to shoot him. And these are the only people that he shot.
Good aim.
Like, right? No excessive force. No, didn't shoot any innocent people. Like,
well, if you watch the video, at one point there's somebody else running up on him. So he points the gun at the guy running up on him. The guy stops and backs away, and he didn't pull the trigger.
Great reserve.
Yeah,
No.
Absolutely.
Like if he wanted to shoot a bunch of people and kill a bunch of people, when that guy ran up on him, when the guy stopped, he would have pulled the trigger anyway, but he didn't. So he was like, okay, the guy's backing off. He's not a threat anymore. I'm not going to shoot him. And Kyle's a good kid. I tried to get him on tonight, but it just didn't happen. But he is a good kid.
And we love to talk to him. We definitely love
absolutely.
Love to pick his brain and kind of his story and and others like his, just being able to get that out to the general masses, and all 3 of us being able to talk to students, being able to talk to the people in the community and let them know, listen, even if you're making decisions to help other people, your life could be in danger, and then somebody else could think you did something wrong, even if really you're just trying to do good and trying to help people.
Yeah. And he was just trying to help people. I think Charlie, didn't you meet him?
I did. I got a chance to meet him real quick at Gun Rights Policy Conference last year in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I did give him my card. I said, hey man, if you ever want to be on the show, let me know. We'll work it out.
Yeah, I'm still working on that for you. Yeah, he's a good kid. Yeah, last year when I told people I had a special guest, that was a surprise to a lot of people.
It surprised a lot of people. I was sitting with a couple of guys who were in the middle of the speeches on Saturday afternoon, and I turned around to the guy. I got a message from somebody that said, if you want to meet Kyle Rittenhouse, now is the time. John's got him in the foyer there, the lobby. So I turned around to the guys that I was with, and I looked at them and I said, get up with me and we need to walk out of here right now. And they're like, what's going on? I said, get up with me and we need to walk out of here right now. And they're like, dude, where are we going? And I'm like, bam, Kyle Rittenhouse is in the at the back of the Gun Rights Policy Conference.
Yeah, that's the first thing he did on the Pro 2A side was go to the Gun Rights Policy Conference.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, pretty wild.
Yeah, he was scheduled to be at SHOT Show, and we were almost there, and then they canceled it because a bunch of people were protesting it and saying so.
The other side is the way I see it is this is if what's his name there, the one-armed bandit there, I remember seeing. Yeah, Gage. I remember seeing video of him walking into the hospital with one of his friends, and he said he wishes he would have shot Rittenhouse first. And when I talk to people and say, well, 17-year-old shouldn't have been there, he shouldn't have shot, blah, blah, blah. And I said, so you're okay with, I forget how old Gage was, late 20s, early 30s. I said, you're not okay with a 17-year-old shooting someone that wants to kill him, but you're okay with a 30-year-old man killing a 17-year-old? Are you really sure about that?
Or the first guy that he shot, he had a pretty interesting criminal record.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too much into that, but I would not want him around my kids.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Right. All right. Norman here says, thank you all. And Mr. Mallory, I love the interview you did with Shooting Straight Radio podcast.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So what else? Oh, so we have for those people that are tuning in, we are doing a giveaway just before the end of the show. If you go to, oh my gosh, I got to read it here on the bottom of the screen. If you go to, what is it, meetthepressers.com/giveaway and put in the
Yeah.
code CRUMP, you will be in for a drawing for a $439 CERT pistol or a $250 Mantis X. So please make sure that you do that.
Yeah.
Thanks to our sponsors, Next Level Training for the CERT and Mantis for the Mantis X10.
Yeah, Flying Rich and I, we have a John Crump Live, and through my website, my Crumpy website, you can Google it. We are giving away something too. We're giving away this.
What's this? I see logos.
Hold on.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pistole.
Enter. There's a lot of different
Nice.
ways to enter.
Nice. Okay,
Very
there
cool.
you go.
All right. So
You
let's see if we
posted,
can.
you posted his YouTube channel. You want to post his website? Crumpy.
What is it?
It's
Crumpy.
crumpy.com. Yeah. So, and we're doing that. It's not really to like, you're not going to get spammed or anything like that because the only person that's going to have your information is me. And I'm not going to spam you. You probably never hear from me ever again. But we know we're just doing it to give back to the community a little bit.
Very cool. This is the thing. The anti-gun folks want everyone to believe. They want the non-gun folks to think that we're crazy lunatics, but we're not. I mean, you're giving stuff away. We've got goodies to give away here.
Listen, it's an industry that we have to support each other, and especially with all the shadow banning and the disinformation that's spread about guns and self-defense and whatnot. We got to stick together and support each other, help each other out.
Yeah.
David here wants to know if that's got a 10-round magazine.
2 15-round mags, and I don't know if you guys have fired the Steyr pistol at all.
No,
I have not.
Oh my god, it is freaking phenomenal. I got one myself, and the
we
weight
weren't on live. I'd say pull it out and show it, whip it out.
the
and show
weight,
it,
the way it's balanced is amazing.
Nice.
It uses like 3 triangular sights, which is awesome, which I didn't think I was gonna like, but I love. The trigger's not bad on it either, and the ergonomics of it is just insane. It's a really well thought out gun.
What's the MSRP?
6 something.
Nice. That's a good price point. Not too bad.
So I'm trying to pull it up. What is it called? The Steyr, Styer.
Yeah, Steyr.
Slowly.
It's a Steyr. Yeah.
Back up here.
Pistole.
All right.
Very cool. Yeah, David, don't worry. I got you hooked up. We'll get you 10-round mags. As long as they make them, we'll swap that out if you win it. Enter away.
There we go. See, we're
David,
such givers here.
Yeah, for sure. David's my guy. He does all our Facebook posts for me and some YouTube stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible pistol. I was skeptical, but I was just like, I love it.
So I've in the past, April last week, and then just Saturday, I qualified for my law enforcement, Leosa retired law enforcement, as well as my armed security guard. So I did 3 qualifications just since April, and I've been using my Walther, but I'm contemplating switching back over to Glock just because so many people have Glocks, and that's what I use for the UTM instructor courses and my force on force. So I'm going to see if I can get back out there and get the block in my hand and see how good I can wield that thing.
Yeah, it's an L9A2 if you were looking up the Pacific.
Okay. So when you do 3 of those, do you put 3 targets on top of each other and just shoot at once?
Well, I did get a 250 and another 250 and another 250, but I did get one 247. So out of 250. So three perfect scores, and one was 3 points down.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Need to train more. Just joking.
Right.
No,
so
I mean, that's true. I hadn't shot that gun in a while. I'm like, I should try this one. And
were you using your CERT pistol or your Mantis X when you were practicing?
when I was shooting the qual?
To practice, to do some dry firing before the qual.
Well, it's interesting because when I do the classes, the 18-hour classes, which I teach weekly, I'll use the SIRT pistol in the class to practice and show demos to the students. So I get a little bit of practice in each class. That's kind of my way of trying to curb
sneak some practice in. Yeah. All right. So Damo asks here, are there any more Brandon Herrera's challenging, about to challenge rhinos in any other jurisdictions?
I know what's his name just announced that he was going to be. What's his name?
I'll never forget what's his name.
Yeah, I know. What's his name?
Sounds like. What does he do? Let's play charades here. Gun charades.
Graham Allen.
Graham Allen. Very cool.
Graham Allen. He just announced he's running for some office. I can't remember what he said he was going to run for. But.
Yeah, that sounds like something my mom would say. She's always like, "Hey, did you watch that movie? It's really good." What movie? The movie that was on the other day.
It's got the people in it. Those guys you like. You would have really enjoyed it. Yeah,
you guys are so mean.
Thanks for narrowing it down.
My mom shot someone before.
He did what? She did.
My mom shot someone before.
Did she?
Yeah.
It's just so flippant. It just comes. My mom shot someone before.
No, it's just something that reminded me of that. I don't know. So my mind goes like thousands of places.
Mm-hmm. Squirrel.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, man, I am ADHD.
I tell people I was ADD before ADD was cool.
Yeah, I am definitely ADHD.
ADHD, ABC, OCD, 1, 2, 3. I'm all of it.
I'm down with ADD. Yeah, you know me. I'm down with ADD.
You mind if I share the video of my mom? She talks about it. It's only like 30 seconds long.
Yeah, absolutely. Dig it up.
All right. Yeah, it should be down there. Just let me know.
Oh, there we go.
All right, this is my mom, and if you
go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm here with my
Can you
mom.
guys hear it?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Mom, when we were little, my sisters and I were very, very little, and someone tried to do a home invasion. What happened?
Well, I saw him at the back door, and I saw him fooling with the knob on the door, and I knew he was going to try his best to get in. And with them being so little, I had to protect them, so I went out the front door with my Saturday night special, and I went back in the back, and surprising, I shot him. And then he ran, and I shot him again.
So that's my mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how often did your friends come over and fool around when you guys were teenagers?
Not much.
Like when she said, have John home by 10, you guys are home at about 9:45.
Yeah, my mom's pretty cool.
That's funny.
But I've talked to her about that incident a lot, and she always says, "Nope, no regrets." I was like, "Did you have trouble sleeping after it?" She's like, "No, I slept like a baby."
I mean, this is the thing. Some people need to be shot.
Yeah. She is the spokeswoman for FAFO.
There you go. All right, I'm trying to find out where Graham Allen.
Yeah, I've been Googling it too. Lives is in Texas, I think. Republican primary, U.S. South Carolina, U.S. House, South Carolina District 7 is where he's running.
Gotcha. All right.
Looks
there we
like
are.
it.
So he's in South Carolina.
South Carolina 7. Yep. Wait, that was January 28th of 2022. Maybe that was an old election. Myrtle Beach.
Coop says that, hey, Ma, the meatloaf.
Yeah. Dave here, Saunders. Oh, you already did that one. Go ahead.
Whoops. What does Dave say?
No, I was just saying. Yeah, he's saying, so instead of ADD, before ADD, it was just you were called a brat.
Right.
Kind of true. Kind of true.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mr. Roboto here is funding at the same thing. It was from 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, this is honestly, this is the thing that we do need to have. We need to have people that are pro Second Amendment and pro liberty oriented that do step up and run for office and run for dog catcher and run for school board and whatever all of the local offices are, so that they get some experience on how all of this works, and they can possibly work their way up. And then maybe change some of these policies that we have, and change the direction of where our country's going.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Plus, at the local level, that's where most of the stuff that happens that affects your life actually happens at. A lot of people have this preconceived notion that they're going to be more affected by people on the national level than the local level, which isn't the case. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, it's I know in the little town that I live in, there's a lot of small businesses that are worked up because there's some sort of a regulations on signage and how you can light signs, and you can't. I don't think you even at the McDonald's in our town, there isn't some big yellow golden arches that light up. There's like a 3x3 piece of wood that says McDonald, and they have a couple of lights underneath it that go up and shine on the logo there. So towns like this have it's the small things that impact. Oh my gosh, there was a couple years ago, again, some people really need to find something to do with their lives. There was a new hotel that was being built, and I can't remember what hotel it is, even though I drive by it 14 times a day. But the big thing that people were worked up about is the hotel had blue lights in front of it. And this is what they have in all of their hotels around the country. And then once they put the blue lights in, everybody was all worked up and crazy about it. So when I go to hotels and I stay in one of these hotels and they have blue lights out front, I take a picture and I'm like, hey, I'm in, Lexington, Kentucky. And can you believe this? They have blue lights on the hotels, and I put this on the community page just to get people all riled up.
Yeah, I'm pretty libertarian.
Poke the bear.
Stuff like that. And I get an argument on neighborhoods about something like that. About somebody wanted to do something and someone was objecting to it, and like, this is the reason why we have a HOA. I'm like, I don't like HOAs. They're like, well, if they didn't have an HOA, people could do something that paint their house polka dots or something like that. I can't remember exactly what she said. I was like, it's their house. They're like, but it's going to affect your home value. I was like, it's their house.
Right.
Like, I can't remember exactly what she said.
I've got a friend that's complained about the HOA in the condo that area that she lives in. And I saw this meme over the weekend. It's this big black flag that says defund the HOA.
Yeah, I mean, I should do that. I live in a pretty. There's a lot of pretentious people where I live at. Charlie's been to my house.
Yes,
you didn't meet any of my neighbors, but there's a lot of them that are really cool, really awesome people, but there are some that are really pretentious.
I could totally get that.
Yeah, so
you can see it by just just driving through the neighborhood. Dom
I
here
love
says,
living in a. Oh, go ahead. Read it.
Dom says it tickles to me. Remember that my U.S. Rep's office told me the way they have my profile as Norman Maynor. Sorry.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, a lot of reps don't like talking to me.
I try to be level-headed to get in their office, so that way at least I can see what they're made of, so I can go back and report. I mean, I meet with sheriffs and DAs and judges on a annual basis in the counties surrounding me here, just to try to put a little bit to be a resource for them. Because the last thing I want them to do is turn around and have some edict or pass some law or bill or something like that totally doesn't make sense in research and it's not founded in common sense. And I like, what do you think of this?
Well, I mean, like I get that, and I do that a lot. But like, I was going down to Georgia, or no, South Carolina a couple of months ago, and the person sitting next to me was Lindsey Graham.
No
Oh
way.
my gosh.
So I
You fly
lectured
first
him
class?
on the Second Amendment for like 3 hours. And I was like, do you have a comment on this? Do you have a comment on this? Do you have a comment for the record? He's like, no.
Stewardess,
Stewardess, can we
you
switch?
move me?
Can we switch seats, please?
Next thing you know, he gets up and he goes, "He's not real."
Yeah, no, he was just like, why do you call my office? What do you comment? I'm like, well, I was like, but you're here. Wouldn't it be just easier to give me a comment on the this has been bipartisan Safer Communities Act was going down. I was like, would it be easier just to give me a comment right here instead of going back to your aid? If I can get one directly from you. That never got a comment, but
He never said a word?
No, and he said a word. He just kept on trying to like play nice and go, well, there's a lot going into it. Let me get that information over to you. Blah, blah, blah.
Ridiculous. Oh my gosh. So Norm says he usually gets letters from his reps. I got to tell you, it's not. I think a lot of people get some performance anxiety when it comes to writing their reps, and I think you do need to remember that your reps also they have to take seated head calls, right? They're regular people, and they need to. Charlie, why did you scream for me to go F myself at the diversity shoot? I don't think we talked to each other there, Christy. I tried to avoid you, and you tried to avoid me.
That was Christy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So you just need to remember that these are regular people, and you just have to write to them. You don't have to have some big fancy letter, and it doesn't have to be anything formal and whatnot. Just write to them.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to remember what a lot of people forget is they portray themselves as leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They're not leaders. They're representatives, and they're representing you. They work for you, not the other way around.
I think a lot of times they forget that.
Yeah. A lot of times you got to remind them. And a lot of times you can't be like, starstruck or,
Right. They're
like, oh, I don't want to.
I know this is shocking, but they're humans too.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of them.
Yeah, there's two different types of politics. You have confrontational politics and you have access-based politics. Access-based politics.
All right, what else do we have?
Okay. Yeah, I think you did.
Locked up.
Well, I'll just back to explaining. Access-based politics is when you cover for your guy in office, so you don't lose access. I'm not that. I'm confrontational, which means the think or spank type of politics. So if you do something good, I'm going to highlight that. If you do something bad, I'm going to highlight that.
Right. It's kind of like reviewing products, right? If somebody sends you a product and it's crappy, well, if you review the product and you give them a bad review, they're not going to be happy. But then if you review the product and give them a good review, even the product sucks, your followership's not going to be happy. So you got to be true to yourself.
Exactly.
This is true.
Hey, Charlie, you're back.
I'm back. I don't know what happened.
I don't either.
The trumpet a little bit.
You had you had a little hiccup.
I had a little hiccup. Let's see. What do we have? Norman here says, I agree. Write and call them. And like one of the songs I wrote, it's time to remind our government that they work for us. Absolutely. Absolutely.
See it over and over. The alphabet soup agencies.
Oh, hold on. That's a very important call.
That's for you. All right. Well, you know what? All right. Well, while we are, while Mr. Crump is taking a call from,
sorry,
from
that was
judge.
No. That was my wife. I heard a big bang upstairs. One of my kids fell.
Oh,
okay.
Well, you know what? With that, how can people catch you and find you?
John Crump News or John Crump Live on YouTube, or check out my writing at MLN.com. And remember, the most important thing that you can do is be true to yourself. And you got to also be ever vigilant of people trying to take away your God-given right. When I say God-given right, you notice I didn't say Second Amendment rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Second Amendment is a limitation on government, not on you. Your rights do not come from a piece of paper. Your rights come from the natural universe, God, whatever. But the Constitution puts a limit on the federal government. That's why I refer to the Bill of Rights as a bill of negative liberties, because it's negative liberties for the government, which protects your liberties. So just remember, you have to watch out for people that's going to try to take your rights. So, and fight back.
All right, very cool. Do you need to go right now, John, or can you? Matt's going to pull up a number, and those are going to be our two winners.
I can stay for a second.
Okay, so we're going to have two winners. One of them is going to win a 439 CERT pistol, and the other person is going to win a Mantis X, which I think was worth $250. So Matt is pulling these numbers up.
I use a Mantis X, and I use a Blackbeard too. They're both awesome.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I keep my CERT pistol pretty handy.
Either of you guys going to the USCC Expo coming up next month?
No.
Wisconsin?
I am not. I have to.
I'll be there.
Nice.
Be there.
I don't like leaving our basement too much.
You sound like, were you Biden?
Oh, mercy.
Wow.
Wow. He does.
Sorry.
He does like ice cream, though. Okay. All right. Do you have a couple numbers for us, Matt?
Wow. We only had a handful tonight, so it looks like some lucky winners are going to. Let's see. Give me a number between 2 and 11. 2 and 11, Crump. Give me a number.
11.
11 is going to be Kenneth Corley. All right, Ken. Ken's one of the guys down in Florida. I've done some training with him, so that's awesome, Ken. I don't know, Charlie. What do you want to give him? You want to give him the Mantis, or you want to give him the CERT?
He was the first one, so let's give him the CERT.
Okay, Ken, you just won yourself a CERT. All right, and give me another number from 2 to 10, Mr. Crump.
Let's go with Alexander Ovechkin's number 8.
Number 8 is going to be another student, Charlie, and you know this gentleman, Mr. Mark Lindblom.
All right, Mark Lindblom has just won a Mantis X. Congratulations, Mark. I'm going to be hanging out with Mark this Sunday at the Gun Owners Action League event. It's their 2A Freedom Rally, and they're bringing in Amanda Suffolcool. They're bringing in DC Project Gals. Holly Sullivan's going to be there. Cam's making a video. John Petrolino's making a video. I think Nikki Gozer might be making a video. So it's going to be a pretty cool event, and I'll be hanging out with Mr. Lindblom this weekend. Excuse me. All right, so we got to go. It's 9 o'clock. John, thank you so much for being on. Hope the kids are okay upstairs.
Yeah, sure they are.
Thank you for all of the fighting that you are doing, because it's important stuff that people work on this level and realize that just having a little piece of metal and trying to jam it into a gun does not make it a machine gun.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm willing to come back anytime you guys will have me.
All right. Nice. Sounds great.
Went by quick.
It did. Thank you guys for tuning in. Here, we'll let Crump go and we'll finish things.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
All right. So if you have not subscribed to the Meet the Pressers YouTube channel, please do. If you have not subscribed to Riding Shotgun with Charlie on the YouTube channel, please do. We can find all of our stuff on all of the social medias. And we thank you guys for tuning in. The next time we have somebody, we will try to give you guys more of a notice so we can get some more people tuned in and we can get you. But when you do watch the show, share it with your people, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
Stay safe.